What's up? What's up? And I get a phone call the second I start the stream. What's up, everybody? Perfect timing, I know. It's unbelievable. I'm going to wait a good couple seconds because my last few streams, it's been cutting off the beginning on my recording. So it's like the stream starts and I'm like in the middle of a sentence. So I'm going to wait a second for the stream to start loading so I can actually get my words out. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it is Diddy's going away party. Okay, last night I was one of the first people to jump on and talk about the fact that Diddy was arrested. I was about to call it a night, about to hop in bed. I hop on X and I see that Diddy is in jail. And I knew this was coming. We've spoken on this situation multiple times, in the past couple of months, I guess it would be. And at the end of the day, this was something that I had to jump on right away. But tonight, we have the charges. Not only do we have all the new charges against Diddy, but we actually have the federal prosecutors in New York giving all the details about every single thing you need to know about the case, all the charges. So let's take a look at the video. I'm going to play this video right quick. And I'm hoping I'm live, that we're out there. Let me know in the chat if we're on, so I can be sure. And okay, let's take a look at this video right now.
Of New York is speaking right now.
And let's head to the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan and hear more about the charges in this case.
Arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported.
With male commercial sex workers. Hang on a second. So really the rumors about Diddy are true. And I mean, look, that honestly to me is the least important part of this, by the way. Like, I don't discriminate. I don't care what Diddy is. But bro was just going all the way. Look, if you're going to have a freak off, I mean, you might as well go all the way freak. This dude went all the way. And it's just insane to think that all these little comments, all these little cracks about Diddy actually turned out to be true. I mean, this guy is absolutely insane. Let's make sure we heard that correctly.
People for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee.
And you know you're cooked, by the way, when these are the least of the crimes. Like, when I'm thinking about the case of Diddy with all the things he's being accused of, and he's going to get into it here. We're going to read another article about this. We're going to go all the way through this story here. But when assaulting somebody, dragging them down the hall by their hair, using intimidation tactics, when those are the least of the charges, when those are the most innocent things you've done or are being accused of, you know you're cooked. Because Diddy is being accused not only of this, not only of rape, he's being accused of sex trafficking across state lines, drug trafficking. He's also being just accused of full-on RICO. Okay, this dude's got RICO charges coming down like you wouldn't believe. So this is serious. Let's keep playing this clip.
As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson.
Kidnapping and arson. This dude's like the fucking Joker of New York City. And to think he was just given the key to the city, by the way, in New York City by the mayor, a matter of, 2 months ago? And this is the type of stuff this guy was doing, not only in New York State, by the way, all across the United States, all over the world. I mean, this is insane, guys. So for anybody who's just joining, the charges against Diddy have been disclosed. Diddy is being accused of a laundry list of charges, guys. Let's just go down the list about some of these charges. So he's being accused of RICO, so racketeering, sex trafficking, engaging in prostitution. I'm reading this off the list here. And not only that, Diddy's enterprise is accused, and this is a quote, by the way, from the court documents. Diddy is accused of, quote, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in the acts of sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Oh my God. Well, at this point, Diddy's life is an obstruction of justice, okay? And let's not forget this is the guy who killed Tupac. But we're going to get into that in a second.
Indictment alleges on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers.
Okay, guys, so that's where the video, it basically ends after that. The next part is actually the prosecutor showing firearms, which I actually can't show on live streams anymore, and just detailing all of the charges that are happening. So, looking insane. I mean, chat, what do you guys think? At the end of the day, Diddy is facing a lot of charges, but let's take a look, and you guys can tell me what you think as I say this. Let's take a look at how long Diddy is actually facing in prison now. This is the part that really shocked me about this story, because 2 of the charges he is up against carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. Okay? Life in prison is potentially what Diddy is facing. I mean, this is absolutely insane. It said, now the other part that we have to look at too is that Diddy actually asked to get bail/bond to get out of prison. And the bail was going to be $50 million. You know what the state of New York said? They would not grant the bail for P. Diddy. The other detail, I'm just going to add all the details now because there's so much to cover, is that Diddy was arrested. There was a warrant out for his arrest to go and get him. And there was a date for that warrant for them to go and get Diddy. He was arrested a day early for his crimes. Okay, this guy, they actually went to get this guy, this rich and powerful guy, a day early before they were even supposed to. Free Diddy. You guys, why is everybody saying free Diddy? They're gonna make a woman out of him. I'm just gonna read some of the chat before we go back into this. Diddy's freaky. Yeah, we know that. We know that. Shout out Phil. Shout out everybody, man. Hashtag free Diddy. You guys are crazy. I do not co-sign this, by the way. For any potential advertisers who are just joining and they're like, they just see Cassius Moore as free Diddy. I do not co-sign free Diddy. You guys can say free Diddy if you want. So yeah, this is absolutely insane, guys. So yeah, following his not guilty plea, as reported here by E! Sean Diddy Combs was denied the $50 million bond package as a condition, which, I mean, obviously makes sense. Look, if you're at the point now where you're going to be prosecuting this guy to this extent, you might as well just keep him. This is a man of means. And it's funny, the first time we actually heard that the feds were coming for Diddy, the next thing you know, we saw this dude on a private jet. Flying around. I think he went to the Dominican Republic or some shit. Actually, he went to the Caribbean. I remember this. Speaking of Barbados, because I was in the Caribbean at that time. I was there, and I remember Diddy was like 2 islands away from me. And this is when it first came out that Diddy was going to jail, potentially. I mean, there was no charges laid yet, but he did get caught for the Cassie thing shortly after, and that's when it started bubbling up. And I remember just being there thinking, Diddy's somewhere out there. What is this guy going to do? Because this guy's been disgraced since May. I mean, it's September 2024. This guy has been disgraced since May. Let's not forget about that. Oh my gosh. Now do Oprah next. Now, here's this clip I want to play, and I'm going to play the audio, guys, because you can only put so long for these clips up here. We'll go back over some of it in a second. But I want to play this clip, and we'll listen to it, of the prosecutor when asked about the connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the biggest thing people have been saying about Diddy is that Diddy is the next Jeffrey Epstein. Actually, not the next one, because he basically is the new Jeffrey Epstein, right? To say he's next would imply that he's yet to do it. He's done it, he's been it, and he's basically the new Jeffrey Epstein. Although it's hard to say new because he's been doing crimes for 2-3 decades. The point is this. There's a lot of connections to Jeffrey Epstein in this case. And the weirdest connection is that this branch of the New York Justice Department, Department of Justice, is the same branch that actually had custody of Jeffrey Epstein when he didn't kill himself. I mean, let's be serious. But this is the same branch. So not only is there a connection to the case, the dangerous thing is that he's being supervised by the same department that was, tasked with supervising Jeffrey Epstein, that failed that task. And look what happened when Jeffrey Epstein died. We lost most of the evidence of the case. We lost everything, okay? The list is still not out. And there's all these rich and powerful, famous people who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein that we'll never know because he's gone under this department's watch. Now, my worry is that this happens with Diddy. And this reporter felt the same way. Very interesting question from this reporter. So let's take a listen.
Given what happened with Epstein.
We're going to go back a little bit.
I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with Combs' safety in custody given what happened with Epstein?
So we are concerned with anyone's safety whenever they are detained prior to trial. It's part of our obligations to keep people safe as well. It's part of the criminal justice system. So, but I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and
his suicide. Now that's funny, Mr. Prosecutor, because in order to call it a suicide would have had to have actually happened.
I do not draw any sort of connection between Jeffrey Epstein's suicide and what may or may not happen to any other defendant while they are detained pretrial. And of course, the decision whether to detain the defendant will be up to a judge. Our position is that pretrial detention is warranted under the law and based on the facts of this case. And I'll leave it at that.
Are some of the
Now he also asked this question about the prosecutors.
prosecutors on this case some of the same prosecutors that had been handling that or that worked on the Maxwell case?
So I'm not going to get into the staffing. I will say that this team, this group of AUSAs, this incredible group has been working on this case around the clock, and they've had their hands full. Next question.
Well, it sounds like Diddy's had his hands full too. And he's had his hands full of the wrong things. Now, a couple other things to mention about the case. I do want to go back to this Epstein angle because it does make sense. But let's come back to that in a second. So a couple other things to note about this case that are absolutely insane. So Diddy charged, for anybody who's just joining, I know there's a lot to follow. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Cassius. Same name. You got a good name. You got a good name, sir. So Diddy's going down for kidnapping. He's being charged with arson, racketeering, full-on RICO. He's being charged with sexual assault, battery, trafficking, you name it, Diddy's being charged for it. And he's potentially facing life in prison. Now, what did they find when they searched Diddy's residence? That's the first thing that I was wondering when I heard that this whole thing was going down and there was a ton of evidence actually seized. Now, here is the evidence that they seized from Diddy's home. As he mentioned in the video that we played, tons of drugs were seized, okay? Tons of drugs. Ketamine, GHB, which is the date rape drug, large quantities of GHB that he kept on reserve. This dude had like a pharmacy, Diddy's pharmacy, bro. The only pharmacy that makes you worse than when you went in. Sicker than when you went in. Diddy's pharmacy, full of GHB, ketamine, and Xanax. These are drugs, guys, and they said exactly here, or here, I guess, in the clip. These are drugs that make people, you could, drug somebody terribly with those drugs. If you've ever seen somebody on those drugs, on a Xanax, it turns you into an idiot, and it turns you into an obedient idiot. That's what they're saying. They say this guy was using these drugs to make people obedient and to coerce people into doing whatever he wants. There's a reason he was using sedatives. There's a reason he was using disassociatives. These drugs are exactly what they use to literally rob people and bring them to the ATM in fucking South America. He was using all these drugs, and they found large quantities of these drugs in his residence. Now, the other thing that he found, and this is exactly what just JF said in the chat, it wasn't 1,000 gallons of lube, but they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil / lubricant in Diddy's residence. 1,000 bottles on reserve. I mean, I'm a professional yapper, but I'm about to be speechless because I don't even know how to react to that. How can a person react to that, bro? 1,000 bottles. This dude was getting down. How much fucking are you doing that you have 1,000 bottles? And this dude's been doing it for 30 years. 30 years. It would take me 30 years to go through 1,000 bottles. I wouldn't even go in through 1,000 bottles in 30 years. This dude is going through 1,000 bottles. Like, what the fuck? I cannot believe this shit, bro. Diddy, man, what did you do? Why did you do it, bro? Diddy, you're rich. God obviously liked you at one point. He blessed you, bro. God used to like you. Why not take it? Why not take the opportunity? I mean, oh my God, bro. 1,000 bottles of lube. That sounds like the name of the next mixtape. 1,000 bottles. Just the empty bottles everywhere, bro. I'm having nightmares of empty bottles, people slipping, slippery floors. Oh my God, Diddy. Let me calm down. Let me calm down because I just gotta relax, bro. This is ridiculous right now. Oh my God. So that's really what we're dealing with here. Here's the other piece, by the way. So there's so much. I'm trying to remember it all. I'm trying to like remember exactly how many things we need to cover in this stream. So check this out. We've all heard about the freak-offs, right? And if you haven't heard about the freak-offs, well, welcome to the world of Diddy. Welcome to the case. There's a lot to learn. So the Diddy freak-offs were these insane sex parties. And this is actually where the sex trafficking was occurring, okay? So we're talking about Diddy trafficking sex workers across state lines. That's what the prosecutor was talking about. We'll play another clip from it in a second. This is where they were going. Okay, you're wondering where was he trafficking them to? He was trafficking them to these freak-offs, which were insane sex parties. That the prosecutor even mentioned by name in this video, by the way, which is crazy to me. So that's where they were going. Now, when it comes to these freak-offs, there were reportedly a lot of people in the industry involved and a lot of celebrities involved. Now, the piece of evidence that they have is that a lot of these freak-off events were actually on tape. They have the videos. I think he says it. They have the videos of the freak-offs. So this takes me back. This is why we're going this way, because now we're going full circle to the other topic that we were on before. This is why I think Diddy's going to get Epstein. Because it's not just Diddy. Nobody who is not a threat to other people is getting killed when it comes to people being killed. Again, it is technically a conspiracy theory that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. But at the end of the day, it's something most people agree on. This is like the one conspiracy theory, quote unquote, that I would say most people agree on. Even the person who did the autopsy said that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. It wouldn't have been physically possible. And the reason Jeffrey Epstein was killed is because his videos, his evidence, they were going to bring a lot of people down who were rich and famous. This is the same thing with Diddy. Okay? Let's say that, and again, I shouldn't even name names, but I'm going to anyway. Let's say that Jay-Z, I know, hypothetically, I know. We all love, you know, Empire. We all love the New York song. And I know he's married to Beyonce. And I know, you know, I know. But let's say that Jay-Z was in one of these videos of the freak-off. Oh my God. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Because I'm not thinking anything good. I mean, look, I don't want to be thinking what I'm thinking. I wish I wasn't thinking what I'm thinking. But I'm thinking what I'm thinking. And it's not good. So, yeah. There's either going to be a lot of people who are rich and famous going to jail. A lot of people who are rich and famous losing their careers and livelihoods. Or Diddy's just going to come up missing. Now, which one do you think is more likely to happen? Does anything good ever happen to people when the elites team up against them? Has anyone ever come out on the other side? Like, I don't know if any... I mean, you could say Kanye came out on the other side. But Kanye lost billions of dollars. I mean, you look at the people that the elites are against. Nothing good happens to them. Is anything good happening to Cat Williams when they make him look crazy every couple of years? Has anything good happened to Jeffrey Epstein? Has anything good been happening to Kanye West lately? This is a group of people that you want to like you in order to live, in order to survive. All these people turning against Diddy. And let's just take it a step further for a second. Let's take it one step further. People can say, well, that's all conspiracy theories. Nobody in Hollywood is going to send a shooter against Diddy. Nobody even killed Epstein. You're crazy. Cassius, what are you talking about? Why are you saying these unhinged things? Well, I'll tell you why I'm saying it. Because we just got proof from the federal prosecutor. Let me play it again. Now I'm pissed. Let me play it again. We just got confirmation and proof from the federal prosecutors that a famous rapper, a hip-hop music mogul, is guilty of kidnapping, attempted murder, arson, using intimidation on victims. It has just been proven today, now, that all this shit is real. Celebrities trying to kill people, kidnapping, sex trafficking, all this evil shit in the business. September 17th, 2024, it has all been confirmed to be real. That's what's crazy to me. All of it's real. Not a fucking thing about it is a conspiracy theory. This entire business is twisted. And it's all true starting today. You like Amy Winehouse? Me too. Hit the like if you're liking the stream, guys. Double tap your screen on YouTube. Smash that like on Facebook. Let's play the evidence again. This is the video of the prosecutor talking about Diddy. We'll break it down again.
Of New York is speaking right now.
And let's head to the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan and hear.
Hold on. You don't know what makes me think they have proof? He's in jail. What do you mean they don't have proof? They have videos of the freak-offs. They have the victim testimonies. They seized 1,000 bottles of lube from his house. That's not proof to you? What, has Diddy gotta fuck you in the ass for you to think it's true? What the fuck are you talking about? There's no proof.
About the charges in this case.
Arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't...
I was saying hi to the guy saying, hey, Cassius, by the way, I was not going like this to the charges. I mean, goddamn. Can't be on tape doing that. He was charged for sexual assault. Just me in the bottom. Hey! No, never that. Don't clip that.
This way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. And the indictment alleges that he maintained control over the victims in several ways, including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged,
Crazy. Extra linens is insane. They're like, bro, we're gonna fuck up so many sheets. They're like, if we call housekeeping up all night, they're gonna know something's up. Like the planning behind this. I mean, it sounds like that Drake song, like talking about changing the sheets. Like, bro, I don't even want to think about some shit like that. But wow, the meticulous planning. What, I'm muted now? Have I been muted all night or what? Or like, have I been quiet all night? I've never used this app before. Tell me how it sounds, guys. Okay. All right, cool. I'll figure it out. Yeah, man, it's insane. I mean, it's insane. I can't remember what I was saying just now. But, unbelievable, bro.
they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers.
Now, we have a little bit more that we can listen to. A little bit more from the prosecutors, guys. The freak-offs sound like a good time? Bro, you're crazy. Okay, got it, guys. Like I say, this is a brand new system. And I'll tell you guys why. I'm doing this shit, like I told you guys yesterday on the stream, I don't even have Wi-Fi right now. So I can't even use my computer. I had all this pulled up from Wi-Fi in a different place, and I brought it over here, so we're chilling. I know it's not that bad. Thank you, Ryan. Shout out Ryan, Johnny. So, yeah, my Wi-Fi's out again, guys. Unless I try to use a personal hotspot. Let me use my phone as a hotspot, and we'll listen to some more. I'm down bad right now with no Wi-Fi. A streamer with no Wi-Fi is insane. Let's go. It worked. It worked. Well, at least listen to the part, because somebody was saying he didn't talk about the freak-off videos. I want to play the freak-off videos. I let my imagination run wild. Okay, I mean, look, you're entitled to your own opinion, dude. If you can't see with your own eyes all the evidence, then you're clearly blind. It doesn't affect me either way. You're saying Diddy's innocent when he's literally on video savagely beating a woman. Wake up, buddy. Okay, here we got the clip.
Participate in the electronic devices that contain.
Here is the clip of him talking about the freak-offs.
For Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seize evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seize firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and the large capacity drum magazine. They also seize evidence of the freak-offs. Electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs.
You're incorrect. He's not innocent. Boy, take a listen to this one more time.
These firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and the large capacity drum magazine. They also seize evidence of the freak-offs. Electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seize cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether. Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches.
The reason I'm not showing it, guys, is because he's showing guns on the screen. There's literally, I can't show that on YouTube at all.
Clear about 2 things. First, this office is determined to investigate and prosecute anyone who engages in sex trafficking, no matter how powerful or wealthy or famous you may be. No one should doubt our commitment on that. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice in the Southern District of New York. Second, we are not done. This investigation is ongoing. 7-4 HSI tip.
They're going to get so many fake phone calls to that line. Holy shit. Hey, yo, it's Tupac, man. But seriously, this is insane. So what about the list? Yeah, let's look. So check this out. So we're reading from the Diddy charges right now. So the Combs Enterprise. So the purpose of Sean Combs Enterprise, basically they were, so hold on a second. There's so much bullshit written in here. So it says here, when employees of the Combs Enterprise witnessed his abuse, or even threatened Combs with the authorities, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise engage in acts of violence, threats of financial and reputational harm, and verbal abuse. These acts of violence included kidnapping and arson. In addition, on multiple occasions, Combs threw both objects. Hold on a second. Oh, threw both objects and people. Oh my God, he threw people? As well as hit, dragged, choked, and shoved others. Damn. When Combs' authority or reputation was threatened by the possibility of negative publicity or legal or law enforcement actions against him, including in or about late 2023, following public allegations of Combs' crimes. So after he was first exposed, he was doing it. That's crazy. He was still... This dude is like an active crime boss. He's continuously been doing this even since he was outed, which is insane to me. So, including in or about late 2023, following public allegations of his crimes, Combs and members and associates of the enterprise pressured witnesses and victims, including through attempted bribery, to stay silent and not report what they experienced. On phone calls, Combs and other members and associates of the enterprise provided these victims and witnesses with a false narrative of events in an effort to conceal Combs' crimes. Combs caused these phone calls to be recorded on at least 2 occasions. Also, he was... okay. So Diddy was forcing victims to say fake things, basically saying that he's good, saying he didn't do it, and recording the calls. Wow. That is absolutely unreal. From at least in or about 2008 through or on about the date, it's written weird because it's in legal jargon. I'm trying to translate it into English. So P. Diddy and others, known and unknown, related to the enterprise and related with Combs, are described in paragraphs 6 through 12 of this indictment as engaged in the activities of racketeering. This includes multiple acts involving kidnapping, chargeable under the following provision: California Penal Code 207, multiple acts of arson, multiple acts of bribery. I mean, guys, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, this is unbelievable. So I'm just trying to find a part, because if you read this, it really is written, again, in legal jargon. I'm trying to sort of translate it a little bit for the people. So one of the counts is count 3 of the sex charges, transporting to engage in prostitution. So basic sex trafficking. So in 2009, up to and including 2024 in the Southern District of New York, Sean Combs knowingly transported an individual in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that the individual engage in prostitution, and attempted, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the same to others. Combs transported, aided, and abetted, and willfully caused transportation of multiple female victims and commercial sex workers. I mean, it's absolutely insane. I'm going to see if there's any other parts that we can read, guys. But yeah, this is... Exactly, he's screwed. Texas, he's screwed. He's totally screwed. So here's a little bit about the freak-offs. So, members and associates of the Combs enterprise facilitated freak-offs by booking hotel rooms for the, quote, freak-offs, stocking the hotel in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, as the prosecutor said, cleaning the hotel rooms after they were done, trying to mitigate the damage, arranging travel for the victims. And we have to remember, by the way, the freak-offs were not consensual every single time. Actually, in most cases, they weren't. So this is not only... Look, if somebody wants to have crazy sex parties where everybody is consenting, I don't give a shit. Like, I think you should be able to do whatever you want as consenting adults, okay? The second that you're forcing yourself on people or forcing people to engage in this type of behavior, yeah, you should be under the jail. That's disgusting. I can't even think of how somebody could bring themselves to do that. Now, on top of the deliveries, they would deliver large sums of cash to Diddy to pay the commercial sex workers. So a lot of the people that were involved were also paid. So it was basically prostitutes and victims, no actual normal people who were involved in this. California law enforcement and Florida law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics, of course, 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Combs subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to cause the victims to engage in freak-offs. Combs maintained control over his victims through, among other things, physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other coercive means, including tracking their whereabouts. Tracking their whereabouts. This motherfucker's crazy. Including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records. What? Monitoring victims' medical records. Controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substances. During and separate from the freak-offs, Combs, among other things, hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by the hair. These assaults often resulted in injuries that took days or weeks to heal. Wow. And we saw what he did with Cassie. We already saw what he did with Cassie. Combs also threatened victims' careers and livelihoods, including if they resisted participating in freak-offs. Victims believed they could not refuse Combs' demands, this is right from the lawsuits here, without risking their financial job or security, or without repercussions in the form of physical and emotional abuse. Combs also used the sensitive, embarrassing, and incriminating recordings. Because we do have to remember, that's true. He's got them on camera doing ketamine. He's got them doing all this shit. So it's insane. Using these recordings as collateral to ensure the continued obedience and silence of the victims. I mean, guys, it just goes on and on. It also says here that his security guards were heavily armed. This was part of the coercion and control allegedly used by Combs. And look, guys, at the end of the day, just because you're charged with something, that does not make it true. There are many different scenarios that could be occurring right now. And I know I'm going a little bit hard on Diddy, but I don't think he deserves the benefit of the doubt because he's a proven criminal. I mean, this is not like if these accusations, and again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If some people out there think he's innocent, that's fine. I don't care. I'm not here to change anybody's mind about Diddy. But I think what I think about Diddy, and what I think is that when you hear something about a person for decades from people who've known him, and all these things are consistent, and then you see evidence of those same things, I think it's pretty safe to assume the rest is true. And if it's not all true, we're going to find out. But I think to assume, after we've seen this dude savagely beating a woman on camera, he's implicated with the death of Tupac, dozens of people have come out to talk about outing this guy. People have died when they were going to out this guy. We got to remember, his former wife was in the process of trying to out Diddy for a lot of the stuff he'd done. Some of his former record label people were in the process of writing books about Diddy when they were suddenly killed or suddenly died out of nowhere. This is not an innocent man, okay? So the idea that Diddy in any circumstance is an innocent person, I mean, you got to be joking. It's absolutely insane. And again, I think he's entitled to a fair trial because I think we need to find out all the ins and outs of this. That's why. I think he should have a fair trial and be proven guilty in a fair way, because then we can find out all the details. A lot of this is on video. And let's not forget either that this runs with the same conversation we've heard about all these entertainers for years now. We've heard that these guys put people in compromising situations, using coercion and force, and they film it. Filming it is a big part. They film these things happening, and they use the videos to pull strings and to coerce people into doing what they want them to do. We've heard this about more people than just Diddy. I think Diddy's just one of the pioneers of it. Because Diddy was like new Illuminati, like 90s Illuminati, when they really started kicking shit, when they really started running shit. Like the New World Order, that real New World Order, mid-90s, early 2000s, when they really got a foothold, when they really got their foot in the door. Diddy was at the forefront of that. Diddy is the fucking New World Order. He is the Illuminati. This is the guy who killed Tupac. Okay? This is the guy who killed Tupac. This is the guy who killed Biggie Smalls. Look at this. The chat knows. The chat knows. I mean, I don't even have to say it because I looked down at the chat and it says he killed Biggie. So, what am I telling you for? It's because the people are awake to this. That's why. You're awake to it, and I'm awake to it. These guys should be alive. Not Diddy. Tupac should be alive. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. Tupac should be alive today. We need Pac today. Imagine what Pac could have told us today. Imagine the good he could have done today. If he was alive through the pandemic, if he was alive during the race riots, Black Lives Matter, just imagine the wisdom this guy could have given us through these challenging times. He didn't die of cancer. He didn't die from being hit by a car. He was murdered. Okay? He was murdered. And he should be alive. Okay? All these people should be alive. And none of these people should have been victimized by Diddy. None of these people. I mean, it's if karma does exist, bro, it's time for it to reveal itself. Like, if karma is a thing, if what goes around really comes back around, if all that bullshit is true, it's time for it to happen, because these guys have been running around making money for decades. I mean, this motherfucker Diddy has lived a life that we could only dream to live. I mean, this motherfucker has been in mansions. He's been flying around the world making billions of dollars. This dude is blessed. And he's still evil. I mean, I've never met somebody so twisted. I've never heard of somebody so twisted. You're living the life of lavish luxury. And you still have the urge to be evil? Bro, I would be thanking God. If I wasn't religious, I would start believing in God if I was as rich as Diddy. Because I would believe I was blessed. And it's a disgrace. Mexico loves Tupac, yes sir. Tupac became pain fuel. You're gonna get me in trouble. I'm in enough trouble. I'm in enough trouble, goddammit. Let's see what else we can get here, guys. So Diddy going down. And the reason I think he's going to stay in jail, by the way, or at least get the maximum sentence, is because it's a RICO charge. Like, you look at the Young Thug case and how much it's sticking. When you can get a guy for RICO, it's going to stick. Like, there's lots of allegations, especially for sexual assault and sex trafficking in Hollywood. It's not to discredit it. Trust me, it's serious. But it doesn't seem to stick as much unless that's the main thing. For example, Harvey Weinstein, it stuck. Because that was the main thing. It seems like a lot of guys get away with that shit. Like sexual assault and stuff. Seems like even if it is true, a lot of guys get away with it because it doesn't stick. What sticks in court, especially with rich people and famous people nowadays, is RICO. That's what's going to stick. That, to me, is what's going to put this guy behind bars. Now, the sex trafficking is part of the RICO. Don't get me wrong. That's going to help him, or work against him, rather, and help the prosecutors put him away. But for some reason, when you get that RICO element, it seems to stick a lot more. So that's why I think he's going away. But I'll give you guys my prediction. It is September 17th, 2024. I will say that within the next year from today, Diddy will be dead. That's my prediction. I believe it to be true. I do not think Diddy is going to be living much longer. Because if these freak-offs really are on tape, and the type of people that are implicated in this are actually involved, the likes of Usher, the likes of Cuba Gooding Jr., the likes of Jay-Z, if these guys are actually involved and it's actually on tape, better start planning a funeral. I don't see any other way around it. And again, you could say it sounds crazy. I know it even sounds a little out there. As I'm saying it, it sounds a little out there, but this is out there. This is out there, bro. We're there. Like, this is it. This is the world we're living in. And they've already admitted in the tape, in the prosecution, that this is all stuff that happens. These guys are killing people, burning their houses down, kidnapping people. This guy's a rapper. Like this is not John Gotti. This dude is a rapper. What's RICO? Racketeering charges. So basically organized crime. Using a business that's supposed to be legal for illegal reasons, and it's organized. So organized crime, making money illegally through those means, through nefarious means. That's RICO. I'm no lawyer or anything. I just know the basics, bro. So don't even try to give me a legal quiz. I'm not pretending to be an expert. I'm not an expert. Yeah, RICO started in the mob era. Exactly. Exactly, yeah. You guys know the deal. You guys know the history. Rudy Giuliani, back when everybody loved Rudy Giuliani. You know what I mean? Yeah, Pain Fuel, you're a clone, bro. Didn't you know? I'm a clone too. I am you, user. I am you. So you're actually my clone. Unreal. Well, I guess we're going to see what happens, guys. But again, I don't think it's going to be a long time that Diddy's with us. And I don't wish that, by the way. Like, I don't wish for people's death. I just, that's just a weird thing to do. I'm not saying I hope he's killed. I'm just saying I think he'll probably be killed. Because, I mean, again, you think Jay-Z, and Jay-Z's going to kill me if I keep talking. But I hate to always use Jay-Z. I'm using it as a hypothetical example. But the guy is like this with Diddy. And I mean, if you think this dude, the Grammy winning, I win every Grammy every time, and so does my wife, and we control the music industry, that Jay-Z? You think that Jay-Z is gonna fucking let this happen? That guy is gonna let this guy take him down? Not a chance. Not a chance. And there's no... Yeah. And maybe they won't kill him. Maybe they'll send him to Barbados. Maybe they'll send him on an island. Maybe they'll put him away. They'll just get rid of him. They'll say, look, you got too sloppy. You were supposed to keep us low key. You were supposed to make sure we didn't get caught. And we trusted you, Diddy. We let you hold the freak-offs. Those were supposed to be at Hove's house. We let you host the freak-offs. Okay? Hove took the Rock Nation brunch. Diddy got the freak-offs. We thought it was in good hands. Evidently not. I'm gonna get Epstein if I keep talking. I don't know anything. I don't even speak English. Me no hablo, motherfuckers. That's all I know. If the cops come and get me. Me no hablo. Uno do tre, bitch. I don't know nothing. The prison commissary's already sold out of lotion. That is the best comment. That is hilarious. Diddy is a professional distraction. That's a good point in the chat. I think it's definitely a distraction. Whether it's coordinated that way or not, it's definitely a distraction. This election time coming up. It's a big time. A lot of weird shit going on. So it's yeah. We shouldn't get too distracted by Diddy, but he got complacent. Yes, he did. He did. Jay-Z's going down. Michael, I kind of have that feeling too. It's a weird... Don't you feel it, Michael? It's a weird feeling. Like, I do have a sense that something's coming. Because what happens with this is that a guy like Diddy is not the end of anything. It's just the beginning. This is just the beginning of all these guys getting caught. The very, very beginning. Okay? Why is everyone talking about Diddy? Because he's facing life in prison. That's why we're talking about him. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to hop off. Lots more streams coming up about this. There's a lot more to talk about. I've given you my prediction. I want to know what you guys think, whether you're watching in the live chat now or whether you're watching this recording. What do you think about the Diddy situation? Do you think there's any chance of him getting out? Do you think it's as bad as it sounds? Do you think it's worse? Diddy's behind me. Oh, shit. Bro, don't scare me like that. Do not scare me like that in the chat, okay? Very few things keep me up at night, but Diddy... Well, I gotta check under my bed for Diddy. Thank you, Dane. I appreciate the sub. Guys, if you like the stream, please hit subscribe. It's up above on your mobile. And double tap the screen on YouTube if you like this. It's a free way to support me. I really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody who subscribed already. This won't affect the economy. Exactly, Ale. I agree. Unless you're working for Diddy, then it's going to affect your economy a lot. All right, guys. I love you. Stay safe. Fuck Diddy. We'll be back soon.